Awesome. Good morning, ladies. Welcome to Morning Mindset. My name is Michelle Dale, coming to you from inside Virtual CoWorking Space. Mia, thank you so much for the compliment. I will take it. Mia said I look good in blue. Thank you so much. Coming to you from Virtual CoWorking Space, where we help virtual assistants to level up in their business, lifestyle, and mindset. What a week we've had here in Virtual CoWorking Space. All this week, we have been talking about the 5 keys to claiming your clients. Now, for sure, the reason I talk, or the reason I built one sourcing, let's say, and the reason I talk about mindset so much is because it is literally 80% of the work that you will be doing as a virtual assistant on your mindset, as building your business, becoming successful. And a lot of people put too much emphasis on the hard work and I've got to be working hard, I've got to be struggling, I've got to be striving. And I like to teach virtual assistants in a different kind of way. That does not mean to say you will not be doing any work. Of course we have to do work. We're running a business. It doesn't run itself. But what I'm trying to say is that the things that you want to achieve within that business can be achieved very easily and very readily as soon as your mindset can catch up with your vision and your desire of what you want to achieve. So all this week we have been talking about the topic of claiming clients. Claiming clients actually comes with a lot of other things within the package. It's kind of like one of those Birch boxes, you know, when you open it up and you've got everything inside. Because once you claim your clients, it can then come with a lot of income. It can come with business growth. It can come with developing a team. It can come with just being able to be financially free. But the issue is you've got to be claiming the right types of clients for you. And this is again where mindset work comes in, by figuring out what you truly want. Because the clients that you claim will be a match vibrationally, energetically to what you are saying you truly want. So just remember, if you're saying all I want to do is pay the bills and nothing else, you'll attract clients that will allow you to pay your bills and nothing else. If you want to start thinking a little bit bigger and start thinking, well, actually, no, I would like to develop a team. I would like to increase the level of quality of my life. I would like to do all these things. Then the business can do that too, but you decide. And as always, I've said this all week and I'm going to say it again. All the techniques work as long as you say they do. So the keys, we're on key number 5. The first key was confidence, what we talked about, your self-concept. We're going to come full circle back to that today. Your self-concept, then it's about decisiveness and making that decision as to what's going to happen and what you want. Then we have the commitment, which is the scripting, which is committing this pen to paper. This is how things are going to go. This is the business I am creating. And this really helps solidify things in our minds so we don't flip from one thing to another, because it's that flitting and that back and forth which is really going to cause things to be at a standstill, where you're saying it doesn't work, but in actual fact you've been flitting around too much, so nothing could actually, you know, it's like having the seed and then digging up the seed every time you before you see it come through the surface, if you know what I mean. Then yesterday we talked about the creative process of all this, which is discovering, like, as you envision yourself as that person who has that successful business, then basically the circumstances around you and the opportunities will start to manifest. And this works exactly the same in reverse as well. I remember one time I started a small side business, and it was during COVID, and it was because it was COVID and it was during a time where I had a couple of clients drop off, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I need to rethink things a little bit, so I'll start this business. It was never something I truly wanted to do, but I knew it was a really good idea. So I started this business and it started to go well, but because I didn't love it, I wasn't really feeling into it. And then I had this kind of thought, like, I really wish this business would just go away. But I had a lot of other people involved in it. And funnily enough, I let it go, I dropped it. And then suddenly these people, one by one, just suddenly started saying, you know, like they were coming out and they didn't want that anymore, and these people needed that. And I was just like, oh my God, this has like worked itself out perfectly. And the thing is, I wasn't trying to do anything. I just thought, I'm going to let it sit there and it's going to keep going. But in my heart, in my mind, I knew this business had to end, and it naturally, organically was kind of like coming to that point. Now, what today is all about really is how you navigate through that period of time, or through the messy middle, how you navigate from place A to place B. Because it's not always a straight line. You know, there's ups and downs and obstacles and roadblocks along the way. But the way you do it is constantly to remind yourself about your self-concept. And then as you're going about your day and things happen to you, things trigger you, you have to constantly know or understand who you are being as you are going through your day, who you are being and what is triggering you, and how that self, that future self, or actually it's your current self, we're only in the present, but that person that you're trying to become, that successful business owner who's financially free, who has all the clients that they need, who has just this safety and security blanket of knowing that clients are always contacting you. Maybe you've got a wait list, and that feeling of just, I am that person. You've really got to feel into it to start to be it, because then you will start to be that person that thinks the way of that person, that acts the way as that person, that becomes that person. And then as soon as that happens, everything else reflects on the outside. It's like a mirror. The mirror can't change, or the reflection in the mirror can't change unless you change something in front of it. You smile, you frown, whatever it is. Your hair in the front of the mirror doesn't change unless you change your hair. Like, the mirror is not what's changing things, it's you. And you have to see the outside world basically like that. You see the outside world simply as a reflection. And as soon as you change and you shift into place, that reflection must immediately also do the same. So if you're looking out there, you know the circumstances are dying out, but as soon as you step in, you absolutely know, you do not doubt in your mind at all that the outside reflection is going to then show what's happening within you. It's the law. So what I want to do today, and what we've got, the video that we've got today inside the members area, inside the workshop, inside Virtual CoWorking Space, is all about how you navigate. My mastery people will know, because I've already been through this with them. We're going through this in the scripting process, but it's basically using techniques to be more of an observer of what's going on outside, to be able to say, oh, either that's part of my old manifestation, like I was talking about. There was people, so as soon as I decided I no longer wanted this business and I no longer wanted these people, like, they just naturally started dropping off. Now, some people will take that personally, but it's not personal at all. It's like, okay, this is happening for the right reasons, you know. So it's about really being in that place of knowing that everything is coming from you. And if there is a reflection on the outside, you've either got to admit that you aren't quite in that place yet, that place of being that self-concept that we talked about in the first session. And then you need to, the work that you need to do is really go within and ask yourself. And you can ask yourself questions like, okay, well, if I'm not being that person that I need to be, what am I not giving myself right now that's helping me to step into that person? And it could be a number of things, and this is a very personal question to ask, and this is particularly why I coach people. And there is a lot of resistance that comes up because there is an old version of you that has been that way forever, sometimes years, and you simply have this mindset that this is just who I am. But it's not. It's who you are choosing to be based on all of these, programs and conditions and experiences that you've had in the reflection of the past. And remember, the reflection is just experiencing what you're creating within yourself. If you decide, I have a successful business, you already have that successful business. You can go in there anytime in your mind and create anything you want in your mind, and it's done. But it's whether you want to hold steadfast and stay true to say, no, I do want to experience this out there. And that's why manifestations aren't like completely instant. Because sometimes when we imagine things in our mind, we're actually imagining things we don't want. And it would be pretty disastrous if everything instantly manifested and you're like, no, I didn't want that. So this is what I was talking about earlier, about using your imagination and using your mind to make decisions. Day 2, it's about making the decisions of, what do I want? Where do I want to be? You imagine it in your mind, you feel how that feels, and you take the decision. And that's why we do the commitment on day 3. So then we go into the creative process where we hold that vision, where we say, yes, this is what I want. I'm going to hold that vision. And then you have to become that person. And becoming that person is staying true to yourself. Concept on day 1. I feel like there's this grand finale coming up soon. And now it's just a case of making every single choice, decision, reaction, response as an observer. So let's say, for example, something happened on the outside and you went, oh my God, that's awful. I never wanted that to happen. That is coming from the old version of you, okay? Because the new version of you has to see everything as perfect. And it's funny because we had a comment in the workshop I think it was on day 1, actually. It was a self-concept, which is good because it comes full circle. About someone who said that they struggle to have in their mind that everything is perfect, because obviously the reflection is showing things that are not perfect. Okay, so first of all, know that in order to achieve everything that you want in the reflection, you have to first be the person that makes it happen. So you have to step into the self-concept. So that's why I asked you guys if you had any resistance to the self-concept, because that is often an indicator of you're not being the person that is going to reflect out what you truly want. So what we have to do in this case, and I gave this kind of analogy, it's like, how do we frame something as perfect when it clearly is not perfect? Well, everything is maybe not seeming perfect on the outside, but it is perfect because you are being that person that creates that perfect outcome that you want. So let's say, for example, you've got somebody in a horrible job, and this is one example of how we frame and we look at things and we choose the reflection that we're going to see. So this is one analogy, I guess, or one story that I hope will help you to really think about what you're actually seeing versus what you're being triggered to see from old programs and experiences. So in this case, let's say, for example, you're in a terrible job, you hate it, it's underpaid, and you hate the people you work with, and you don't want to be there anymore, and you'd rather be doing something else, but you say to yourself, I need this job, I have to have this job, okay? So the first thing is when you're stepping into that new person, the first lesson that you have to learn is everything. You've got to detach from everything, okay? So you've got to detach from the neediness of everything. So you decide and you wake up one morning and you say, do you know what? Everything works out perfectly for me. So therefore, everything right now must be perfect. And as soon as you see it from that angle, you are no longer stuck in this needy job of where you're telling yourself, I need it, so I'm stuck in it, and you end up staying there forever, just being unhappy. You can say everything's perfect now, my job, so therefore you start from where you are right now, and let's say an hour you have to start work, you don't sit there for an hour thinking something else is going to happen. You go about your day. So you go to your job, but you start to see that job as perfect. So what does that mean? Well, you say, well, my job isn't perfect. I hate it. But what if the universe, your higher self, circumstances said, okay, what's the quickest way we can get this person out of this job and into the right job? First of all, you decide, obviously, what kind of job you want and what you want to do and things like that. And a million things could happen around that. You might go in there one day and basically say to your boss, I'm really unhappy. And the boss goes, we cannot lose you. What can we do to make you happy? And then you say, oh, well, I want a promotion. I want a pay rise. I want my own office. I want this, that, and the other. Done. Suddenly, the job becomes perfect. That's one scenario. Let's say you say to yourself, no, there's no way, never. I do not want to be a part of this business, company, whatsoever. So you start attracting the perfect job. And let's say you just imagine that that perfect job is out there and it's simply waiting for you to step in it. So then what happens is someone headhunts you potentially, and they headhunt you because you were working in that company. That then makes that job that you were in perfect, because you've got this new amazing job because you had that terrible job that you didn't like. That's how it works. Maybe there's somebody in your office, or you're standing in the canteen at lunch or by the water cooler or something like that, and you happen to overhear someone say, oh, they've heard a job come up in another company, or they've seen a job advertised. So you go over and say, oh, what's that job? And then they see it and things like that. You apply, you get the job, it's perfect. It makes that circumstance, as long as you see it as perfect, the branches of your manifestation will start to grow from there. So that's why you have to see everything as perfect, and everything is working out perfectly from me, for me, because that's how it works. Even from the most undesirable circumstances, all you are doing is making a choice to say, I choose not to be in this situation anymore. I choose to be in this situation. Now everything is going to work out perfectly from here, from the seed. So you have to see the job that you're currently in, the relationship you're currently in, the circumstances you're currently in, as the seed, where everything, a perfect seed, where everything is going to grow perfectly from that seed. And that is how you see everything as perfect. And that is how you navigate through life. You focus only on the self-concept. You question and observe yourself constantly. Am I being that person that I need to be in order to manifest this? Or am I being the person that's digging up the seed every 5 minutes and looking and checking and seeing what's going on? Because I simply don't trust the process. You have to trust the process. You have to know that wherever you are standing right now is the perfect place to plant that seed and allow everything else to grow. And all you do is just, as you're guided, water it. As you go through life, you just see everything as perfect, and you make the decisions from that perfect place. I was telling a client yesterday about how I had a very, very unfortunate situation happen to me very recently, and not many people know about it, and I had to use it as a real indication of how we can go into this victim mentality of like, that wasn't my fault, I didn't create that, I didn't want that, this is happening to me, how could I possibly want that? Or we go into the mentality of, okay, well, if I create something, am I responding and reacting to this from my self-concept, or am I responding and reacting from a place that I don't want to be? So it's really important now to just observe the reflection out there and just know that it's all changing as long as you see everything as it's perfect. It's the perfect place. This is happening perfectly now for a reason. I might not be able to see that reason. I might not be able to even feel good about this right now, and that doesn't matter. You're looking at the situation, even if you're not feeling good about it, as long as you know everything is working out perfectly from there, that's all that matters. It's about who you are being. So you can plant a seed in doubt and say, I really need, in order for me to trust this process, I really need to be able to see that seed growing. So, you know, you start looking, you get impatient, you're thinking it should be there by now, and you can't help yourself, you have to look. And then it dies. You've dug the seed up. and you can see it right beneath the surface. But if you are that person that says, I absolutely know that I've planted that seed and it has to grow because it's the law of nature, and so is manifestation, then you will just simply be the person that tends to the seed, that nurtures the seed, that takes care of the seed. And by the way, that's taking care of you. You are also the seed, you're the source. So you take care of yourself, you nurture yourself, you patiently sit there reading books about planning for your future and planning for the things that are coming in. And you enjoy this process, and then suddenly it's there. One day you'll wake up and there's, through the surface of that soil is your seed. Through the reflection in the mirror is your manifestation. So we have now come, I want to actually just talk about one more point. Robotic affirmations and affirmations. So a lot of people have resistance to these because I always say with the self-concept, it's kind of like an affirmation to yourself, you know. So when you read that self-concept through from day one in the training, in the workshop, you know, sometimes there will be resistance to it. Sometimes there will be like, I'm just saying these words, you know, it will have very different meanings. But basically all you're doing is just drumming into yourself and making it natural that you think these things. First of all, when I started it, I had to remember to do it. And then once I remembered to do it, I couldn't remember all of them. So I had to write them down, and then I had to read them, and then I was reading them. And suddenly one morning I just woke up and I'm saying them in my head. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, I've got this. And then suddenly, naturally, without thinking about it, I'm being that person. And as soon as you can step into that person, be and detach, it's done. This process really is done. So this is why we're doing the 30-day challenge after this workshop, which will start next week. And you have to be inside VCS because we're going to go back to the normal mindset next week, morning mindset. But if you are inside the workshop and you want to do this challenge, it's 30 days of committing. I don't care what else you do, but it's 30 days of committing to this process, to autopiloting yourself, to making it second nature, to making it a habit that you just simply know who you are, know what you want, show up and follow guidance. This is how it's done. So if you want to join that challenge, come inside Virtual CoWorking Space. And we're starting on Sunday, this challenge. So it gives you a couple of days to catch up on the videos, to catch up on everything. And let's just see what you can achieve by simply letting go. I call this submitting to the universe, submitting to your higher self. I call this getting out of the way. But that's basically what it is. It's getting out the way, putting all the old you aside, all the past beliefs, all the things about struggle and the experiences you've had and the things that have caused you to not be able to get the things that you want out of life and all of that. Like, clean slate, start afresh, reborn, pretend you're born again. And just for the next 30 days, this is all you've been told to do to get through life. And just see what happens. Whew. Me as in, I hope we're all in, to be honest with you. I'm in. I'm going to do this. Okay, so we are going to do our accountability now. Thank you so much for being here throughout this week, throughout this journey that we've taken in this workshop. Obviously, day 5 is now in there, the video, the instructions of what you need to do to be able to navigate your way through the mirror that is not reflecting what you want, and to hold true to yourself about getting to the destination that you want to be at. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day ahead, and I shall see you back here on Sunday for another morning mindset. Have a great weekend. Before we begin, don't forget you can join me live online inside Virtual CoWorking Space at www.virtualmissfriday.com/VCS. If you enjoy this session, give it a like. I'd love to hear from you, so write me a comment. And so you don't miss any updates, don't forget to subscribe. Let's begin. So now we're going to look for the positive with our gratitude. First, we'll spend 1 minute thinking of the day before, thinking of all the things that happened, reflecting on work, interactions, relationships, memorable moments, and more. Now you'll write one thing down minimum that you're grateful for. You can, of course, write down more. Something good, something that went right, a small moment or a big win. The more you search for things to be grateful for, the more you will experience things to be grateful for. Now we're going to read out your goal. Make sure your goal is written down in a journal or somewhere you can easily access it. Read your goal now, ideally out loud, and commit to this goal. Believe it will happen. And by reading this daily, the universe knows clearly what your goal is, and the things begin to shift in the direction of your goal. Follow your instincts when this happens by taking action. Now you need to see your goal in visualization. Spend this minute thinking about the goal in your mind. See yourself taking steps towards the goal, or even better still, see yourself having already achieved the goal. Close your eyes and go there. Step into the feeling, step into the place, step into the accomplishment. And finally, it's time for your most important task. Set this task for today and make it relating to your goal. This could be something small like sending an email, recording a video, or making a phone call, or it could be bigger. Either way, one task a day is one step forward, and those steps will add up. Do what you can from where you are now. Set the intention, and the action will carry you towards your goal. Well done you for completing your daily co-create session. Have a fantastic day ahead, and I'll see you next time.